Alright, so with the eye, pretty much you want to try and orient yourself so that you know where in the eye you're looking and what you should be looking for. Alright, so this is the front of the eye here. Alright, most of the lens here is gone, so we're just seeing a little piece of it left back here. But this is where our lens would be. Alright, so this is our cornea, so that would be facing the outside. This is the part that's facing the outside. Alright, so as we go around here, back here you have your optic nerve. Alright, so that's where you'd be looking for your optic disc. Here you'd be looking for the layers of the retina. And then in front here, that's where you're looking for your lens, your cornea, your iris, your, well, this one doesn't have the eyelid. But those are the structures you'd be looking for in the front here. Alright, so this is your cornea, that's facing the outside. So right behind the cornea, this chamber here, this would be your anterior chamber. Alright, so that's filled with aqueous humor. Behind the iris, well, in this one, the iris is kind of sticking onto the lens here, but you would have another chamber right here behind the iris that's called your posterior chamber. Alright, so you'd have a little space in here between the iris and the lens. Alright, then behind the lens, this entire space in here, that's your vitreous chamber. Alright, so that's filled with your vitreous fluid, which is more of a jelly-like fluid. Alright, so let's go to low power. Alright, so it's a huge structure, so once we go to low power, then you have to remember, you know, what it is that's where the orientation comes in. Alright, so we know this is our cornea, so this is the front of the eye. Alright, if we go all the way around, then that's where we have our iris. This would be our lens here, or what's left of it. Alright, this is the ciliary body on that side. Alright, so on the cornea, let's go to a little bit higher power. So this layer on the outside, that would be your corneal epithelium. So remember, that's facing the outside. So that's our stratified squamous epithelium, that's called the corneal epithelium. Then in here, all of this is your stroma, and then this layer of cells here, that would be your corneal endothelium. Alright, so remember, epithelium, that's facing the outside. Endothelium, that would be facing your anterior chamber. So this section here, this is all your anterior chamber, the space here. And then as we go around, we come up on our iris. Alright, so this structure is our iris. So here, this is where we have our posterior chamber. So usually the iris isn't sticking onto the lens like that. You'd have a space in here. Alright. So if we go around here, alright, so this is our corneal epithelium here. If we follow the corneal epithelium going around here, you'll notice that the epithelium starts to become a little bit thicker. Alright, so notice the change. This is our corneal epithelium here. As we start going around, the epithelium starts to become thicker. Look at the stroma, you're going to see a little bit of a change here. You start seeing all this connective tissue over here. Alright?
There's a crystal.
Yeah.
Well, I found it on one of the students' sites.
Okay. Alright, so this transitional region here is called the limbus. Alright, so that's where you start to see this change moving from your corneal epithelium into what's called your bulbar conjunctiva. And I have a slide with the eyelid, so it'll kind of make more sense when you see the slide with the eyelid. And then your stroma here, you'll see a transition into the connective tissue of the sclera. So this outer layer here of the eye, that's your sclera. Alright, so all this connective tissue here. So that happens right about here, about at the point of the iris. Alright, but a good way to see the transition is to just follow the epithelium of the cornea here. And then where it starts to get thicker, that's your transitional region here. That's your limbus. Alright? Alright, so we have our cornea. If we look in the junction here between the cornea and the iris, that's where you're going to find your trabecular meshwork. So you have kind of this little series of openings here that make up your trabecular meshwork. And it's in there that you have your canal of Schlemm. I think there was a better one on this side. So let's go back over here. Alright, so again, we're looking right at the junction of the cornea and the iris. Alright, so in here, this is where we have our trabecular meshwork. Here, and we have a nice little canal of Schlemm right here. Alright, so we have this, this opening surrounded by this membrane. Alright, that's your canal of Schlemm. So pretty much what you're going to have is fluid, this fluid here from your anterior chamber is going to drain into the corners of the eye here, drain through the canal of Schlemm, and that's going to be taken back to the venous system of the body. Alright. Alright, so this is our iris here. So there's a muscle here that's found in the iris. That's called your sphincter pupillae muscle. Alright, so this is at high power. Alright, so we just see this little piece of smooth muscle here, and it's better seen, I think, at medium power. Alright, that's your sphincter pupillae muscle. Alright, so that helps to control the how wide your pupil is going to be, or control dilation of the pupils. Alright, so we'll see it on this side as well. That's your sphincter pupillae muscle inside of the iris. Alright, that's our lens, or what's left of it. Alright, so let's go back to low power here. Alright, so notice most of the stuff here is our low power ID. Alright, so on this side you have your ciliary body, or your ciliary processes. And from that you're going to have these little fibers called suspensory ligaments that are attaching the ciliary body to the lens. Alright, so let me see if we see any on this side. Alright, so these are very thin fibers. We see a little piece of one here, and there's a little piece of one right here. Alright, so that's gonna cause the lens to change its shape, whether it gets thicker or flatter, to help with your eyesight. Alright, so those are ciliary body and suspensory ligaments. Alright, so if we follow the ciliary body all the way around here, so let's, I don't know if we'll see it so good on this one. Let's look on this side. Alright, so there's another transitional region here as you move away from the ciliary body. What's going to happen is you're going to start to see, alright, this one doesn't show it so good either. So let me show you the other slide that I have of the eye. So moving away, as we go towards this region here, you notice that the layers, you start to see the layers of the retina here. And as you move further and further away, it starts to become thicker and thicker. So now we start to see the layers of the retina here. If we move back here, what we're seeing back here is our ciliary body. Alright, so this little transitional region is called the ora serrata. So that's where you start to see your retina, or what's called the neural retina, the layers of the retina. Alright, so that's that transitional region between the ciliary body and where you start seeing the layers of the retina back here. Alright, so let's go back to the front. Alright, so this one has the eyelid. Alright, so we have our cornea here, and then this would be our eyelid that's covering the cornea. Alright, so on this side of the eye, so remember where we saw this transitional region here. So this thicker part here on the side of the eye, that's called the bulbar conjunctiva.